Hello, my name is Mungai and this is Mungahsodes. And today I have yet another beautiful guest on set. Her name is...
My name is Nduta. Hi, everyone. Yes.
Okay. So for public knowledge, would you like to be addressed by both names or...
My artist name is Nduta, but also my name is
Your artist
Ivy.
name is Nduta?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Your artist name is Ndutanotes last time I checked.
Ndutanotes is an identification in terms of like social media and stuff like that.
Oh.
But when I go on stage, I am Nduta. Yeah. Ndutanotes is like my Instagram name, my Spotify name. Yeah, it's like a handle just for people to be able to get like Nduta Mgani or Nduta wa notes.
Okay, me
Exactly.
when I was in high school, I was really poor at taking notes.
Yeah, mi nilikuwa na doze.
Eh?
Na kwa science class unaandika notes za math.
Yeah, so Nduta is a musician. Like she has said, like she sings. Like,
Yes.
like this girl sings. Like this girl sings until she makes the hummingbird. I feel like it's croaking.
Stop.
Like, yeah, it's amazing to have you on set.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me.
So, like I told you before, this podcast is mainly to encourage those young people like us who are at home, who feel like the talents and gifts they have, or whatever skills they have, like they don't really know that it can help them, or rather, the society we live in has not allowed them to believe that someone can actually make a living out of it. So they're trying to find the thing that makes a living according to the society. And I feel like they're wasting more time on that instead of building on the things that they can do and eventually make a living out of it. I guess also, with all due respect to everyone who's also struggling with making income, because I also know that it's not everyone that's privileged enough to balance between what they love and what they need to do to get by. Yeah, with all due respect to you guys. Yeah, so I wanted you to talk about how you plunged into music.
How I plunged into music.
Yeah, when was the first time you knew like this is the thing?
Wow, I wouldn't say like I had like a fast moment. I think it was all a gradual process for me because I'd always sang. I've always been a musician. I've always like indulged in the world of music. Like I had mentioned to you earlier, it's very much
No, you're
praise and
mentioning to
worship.
them.
Oh, now I'm mentioning to you because I'd mentioned it to you. I was very much into like praise and worship, and that's how I knew to express my art and my musicianship. So I got into singing through church. And over time, I think I started doing my own little recordings on my phone. And with time, I started seeing people responding like, hey, this song is really cool. Hey, you should do another one. Like, oh, okay, people like this. And it just became a thing I used to do on the side.
So when is this? When are you putting this out, and when are these affirmations coming in?
This was when I finished high school, like that period before you join uni. I really didn't have anything to do, and I didn't want to do computer. I'm not a very computer savvy person. I keep hitting the microphone. I'm not a very computer savvy person. So I didn't, most people after high school, they join like they go do coding or computer classes, and I just didn't feel like that was for me. So I picked up an instrument. I had started learning guitar in high school.
Oh, that early.
Yeah, kidogo too. So I wasn't as in perfect, but I picked up a guitar. I told my mom I want a guitar, and we got like the cheapest
And
guitar.
you got a guitar, or the cheapest
The
guitar.
cheapest guitar you could ever. Which one is your cheapest? That one. So I got a guitar, and I was like, I want to be serious and like people like the music I'm putting out. Let me do that. So this was around 2017. 2018, I had already joined uni, And then also I started doing a lot of writing of music, because this whole time I was doing covers, and I didn't find joy in doing covers. I wanted to create, because I loved to write poetry, and I wanted to express myself. So I started writing music, and then I think the moment that hit me, like I like and I enjoy music, was when I was in, I think, third year, and I had started like hearing people talking about how gigs are happening here and there,
Third year, which campus?
Jomo Kenyatta University.
Juja.
Yeah, nilikuwa nafanya biotech.
Don't mind my facial expressions. Those people that watch this channel just to see my facial expressions.
No. JKUAT was a good school, I'd say, because I found family. It was a good school. I found family there, and most of the people that I found family with were people from my former high school, who then integrated me in their systems of friends. And from there, like, I met people who are in the very much in the art scene. Not arty, they are doing art, but it's their passion. And because they were now doing like serious courses, I was like their artist friend. So
serious courses. Kwani what you were doing was not serious?
No, like serious in a sense. Serious as in like not artistic or creative. They are structures to your learning and stuff like that. I mean, also art school has structure to the learning, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not a creative.
Apparently, I do.
Yeah, it's not a creative subject.
Okay.
Exactly. So, most of them like, I'm the artist friend. It's like, no, I feel like you should really do this. Like, you should go in for this. And I held on to doubt for a while. Until COVID happened. I think COVID was when my eyes were open, and I was like, I don't want to keep doing biotech. I want to pursue something that is me. Because I was like, do I want to sit in a lab like from morning to evening, Ivy? For real, you want to be wearing a lab coat, unamka to go and swab things and like put them in pipettes, and that's not not what I imagined for myself. Yeah, okay. So when COVID happened, that's when I really like doubled down on learning how to write, and wrote a bunch of things by myself. And
a bunch of things is definitely not poetry, because you know there's a poets channel, so
yeah, no, but also in poetry. I was also writing poetry. Like I have done poetry for a minute. Ever since I was a kid, I was in those two choral groups in primary. When I recite, tumekuja mbele yako, those kind of poetry. So those are the kinds of poetry I was doing when I was younger. I didn't do it in high school. High school I did music. Then now uni was like now coming together of all these lessons. You know, learning from doing poetry, you get to study it. You get to understand like the structure is different from the last poem we did. And of course, if you're doing poetry that year, you have like 5 poems, and then you probably have a solo poem. So you have time to study the poetry. So also because I was young, that I internalized the learning was very much through doing the poetry.
Because you were young. Yeah. You're still young.
I was a kid. Let me say, I was a child. I was a child.
Because she's young. Mama, does anyone see you?
So in high school then I joined music class. I did music for a minute, but mostly the music we're doing was classical and jazz, mostly African jazz. I picked up now that musicality from high school, and then I took this aspect of poetry and be able to sing, to create now Ndutanotes, who you see today.
Oh.
Yes.
As before even the show continues any longer, could you do my guests solid one and just hum a chorus of a song you've written?
Okay.
Preferably one that's online so that they don't go and release your song before you do.
Before. Okay. I have this song. It's called Hisia. It goes, Hisia, Hisia, wondering when I see ya, my baby, wondera, penzi lao hasara, kimbia, kimbia, kumbatia mpaka mwisho wa njia. Yes.
Wow.
You can find it on my Spotify and on YouTube.
Ndutanotes, I'm putting the handle somewhere down here. Yeah?
Yes.
Now you've had have voice for yourselves. And I guess you can go and hear the song and make sure you comment about the song below so that she just knows she's on the right track.
Yes.
She already knows, but it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we were at everything that you've been learning as a child is now coming together in campus. And are you like done with campus?
I haven't been able to complete campus. I deferred my course.
This is in 2020.
Yeah, this is in 2021 when
2021.
when COVID was now like dying, like, things were opening up, schools, what. I was going back to school, and I just had to ask myself, Ivy, for real, you want to go back and learn about mitochondria? I said no. And also I was facing a lot of issues in school. I think I really was exhausted by the systems that were there in the school. It put a toll on even my learning. And you find I just had issues with like my academics, and I just thought I want to start a fresh slate, and I want to do something that I am very like, someone comes gun to my head, this is the one thing that I am sure about without a doubt. I don't even have to think twice about it. I just do it because I can and because I know it. And I decided, I was like, what, fine, if I was to be a university dropout, there's still time to do something else, and there's still time for me to drop back into uni. But now my focus then became music, and it's just been uphill and trying to get uphill from there.
Nice. Wow. Okay. Music.
Yeah.
What can I say? I'm an artist myself.
Yeah. He understands the struggles of artists.
The things we do for art.
Hadi mzazi anashinda na kuuliza result slip, unarudi shule lini, ulirudi shule. You're just like,
you didn't have those calls of you're in school and then they're like, are you in class? Have you attended classes today? And the way lying really takes a toll on you. No matter how much often you try to make it, every time you lie, it's like weighing another stone on top of another, and eventually the ground has to give.
I got those questions, especially from my aunties and my uncles. Like, I got those, habari ya shule, unaendelea tu, unangangana. I'm just like, what do you even start telling? You can't tell them everything. Because, they just wouldn't
definitely
understand.
You want to explain to someone who's in your circle, even if they're a relative, because they're relatives that are not within the circle.
Exactly. Now, those are the relatives who insisted to ask. Like, so I just be like, shule iko. I mean, shule iko.
It's not like you packed it in your bag and left with it.
Sindio, like, iko, tunapambana tu vile tunapambana. You just give an explanation that will just be able to get this person off your shoulder. Because now, you're also trying to come to terms with that decision. Because it's not easy. Like, you've given up a career that would have given you money. It would have
according
given
to
you
who?
According to parents.
Thank you.
Exactly. Like, it's not your own mindset. It's your parent who fed this. Like, unajua ni marketable. Hii utapata kazi ukimaliza. And then you're just like, alafu sasa nikipata hiyo job, and then
But then kudos to everyone who did a course they didn't like to the
And
end.
to the end. But it's not
Kudos to
easy.
you, man. Mad respect. I hope it's paying you.
All the best.
Where?
Yeah. It is like when you find someone who's finished to the end something, they're like, I see funny. You're just like, wow.
And if it's that indeed
Yeah.
marketable and it's paying you well, I mean, you should hire us. She can sing. I can come and do a spoken word in that event. We can market that brand of yours.
Ndutanotes. Ndutanotes. Yeah.
With evangelical poets.
Yes. To get to a DJ.
Yeah, so wow. Wow, this story of yours feels personal to me.
Really? What do you mean personal?
Because I've never shared my story on my podcast.
Really?
So I've never found, like, my family knows because they're my family, I mean.
Yeah.
But now, like, making, well, I've never done it on my
Yeah.
podcast. I've shared it in church once. And I was really shaking doing it because I remember I was, like, testifying how God gave me the boldness to just, to tell my parents, you know what, it's a wrap. I'm not doing statistics anymore. I'm gonna do journalism. And mind you, I've fallen in love with the camera so much that I feel like I'm more of a computer person, camera editing, more than I thought I'd be, like, in terms of talking in front of the camera. But the good thing when the podcast came, it gave me a sense of freedom, because I'm also kind of the person who's not inclined to follow structure all the time.
Yeah.
But then one of the things I guess that made me, like, I knew from high school was I don't wanna wake up every day and go to the same location.
Yeah.
I knew I want today to wake up, go here, tomorrow go there, and it has been manifesting, like, with photography, different clients, different locations, different events, and yeah, I'm not in the same place over and over again. And well, someone told me that maybe that's because I'm young, but well, let's see how far this goes, because I realized that I really love, like, moving. I really love, like, exploring. I want to see new things. I was like, being in school itself was boring because I was seeing the same environment over and over again. So I was hoping that I'd study and get out here and do something that allows me to see different environments. And that's how I knew I don't want to be a teacher, especially a high school teacher. At least for campus teachers, they get to teach in multiple universities as part-time teachers, and then you can be here today, you can be there tomorrow. You don't have to, like,
Be in the same place.
meet the same people, deal the same issues. Where that can be
Take a toll. That's why, like I was saying, why do I want to be in a lab coat, in a lab every day, doing the same thing every day? It just did not work out to me in my head.
So in 2018 I left statistics. 2019 I joined Kenya Mass in May, and then I graduated last year, November. And now look at me, God has opened doors. He has connected me to the right people.
Manifesting.
And yeah, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. Yeah.
Evangelical poet.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why, like, your story felt personal, and I felt like, well, I've never gotten this off my chest. At least now you guys know. I didn't
This
graduate
is the first
with
time
my
you're
degree.
sharing this.
Yeah, I didn't graduate with my degree.
Look at us, being vulnerable.
I didn't
As
graduate
the
with my
artists
degree,
we are.
and I'm not ashamed about it. Yeah, this is who I am. So
There's so much stigma around it. There's so much
Yeah.
stigma around changing your mind.
see, in fact, what influenced it is the fact that I passed so well. Where
Yeah. Well,
and then now that makes you wonder, should I have failed so that I go to the right university?
Yeah. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, so
sharing.
your story, like, So I guess for me, I would tell someone, like I was told back then, go study and do something that you like. There are those that encourage me to do music, but definitely I'm not sure
You
my
need to know your
parents.
strengths, yeah.
I'm not sure my parents would have paid for me to do music, but I'm glad they paid for me to do journalism. And yeah, look at me now.
That's a privilege, yeah.
Yeah, so there is a video that is gonna be coming out on Tuesdays. It's called Be Bold. It's a series of Be Bold. So the one that's gonna come out, it may come out after this episode is already on air. Kindly make sure you watch it. It's just a short episode of 3 minutes where I talk about the 2 things that changed in my life when I became a believer. Yeah, so basically the things that I'm able to do now when I'm bolder. And you're gonna see also how I do my setup. This is my place, this is where I stay. This is not a studio, this is my place. My house is a studio. So it's where I stay and it's where I shoot my content. Please make sure you watch that video. I guess you'll get to now see me in raw. I was actually in shorts. I know you guys have never seen me short. I mean, I'm always tall.
You
Imagine.
should stand and don't interview me with the chair.
If I stand, I can't be seen.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure having you. So
you.
what are some of the things that have encouraged you to keep on the road you're on?
Wow. I'd say I've encountered lots of life experiences that have really drilled this lesson of life is short down my throat.
I want you to mention some of them, like the ones you are comfortable sharing.
I'd say generally loss. I'd say loss of life. You realize you don't have enough time to do the things you want to do. You think when you're surrounded by people you love, and sometimes life can be like there's like a film, but when you lose them, it feels like I didn't have enough time to know this person and their passions, because you knew them in the light of what they do or how they showed up to you, like how they showed themselves to you. So losing someone opens you to that idea of like, I didn't really know this person, and were they really authentic with me? Like, what did I create a space for this person to be able to open up and speak of what their thoughts are? So the thing that keeps me going is that thought of I need to make sure I let people know who I am today. I don't have tomorrow. I don't know about tomorrow. Jana ilipita. If I didn't share yesterday, I need to share it today. So it's that idea of I want to be able to tell who I am and tell my story and share myself as gradually or as quickly as possible, as harshly or as softly. And with the time that I have on this earth, because it's not guaranteed I'd be here tomorrow. And someone would say that's fear, but I think that's very bold. That makes you bold to be able, like you just said, like no one has ever talked about, like them not finishing school. I've never actually talked about it. I don't even think I've ever talked to my relatives about it to their face. I think I have over time come to terms with the decisions that I've made, knowing that I don't have anything to look back on and I need to just forge forward. And so me even talking about this, it's brave for me to say that because I know what I want, and the thing that's keeping me going is knowing it and living by it and having no other day to be able to live by that truth other than today. So that's what is CRT. I see my future as a star. It will happen when it happens, and I believe it will happen. Not to be a star, but to be good at what I do, or even create a lifestyle around what I do. It it'll take time, and it doesn't always end in one specific way, but najipea that grace to be able to become whatever I become. And to answer your question, it's living every day day by day. That's what keeps me going.
Wonderful, because that's basically what the book I'm reading is talking about.
Yeah.
The book I'm reading is titled How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. And he says live in one day compartments, one day tight compartments, whereby Jesus said, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough worries of itself. Rather focus on today, for each day has enough evil of itself to deal with. And he quoted Jesus, and he gave several stories about different people and how they started living a day at a time, and that's how their life changed. He talked about this guy who had been so stressed because he was in debt of over around $20,000 debt, and the stress was killing him. And the doctor told him, hey, from the way I'm seeing you sick, you have like 2 weeks to live. Imagine, this guy has not been sleeping well, not eating well, but when he was told he has 2 weeks to live, he was like,
You did all that.
Fuchs, I'm gonna die. Okay, let me now sleep, let me rest now. At least I know it's gonna end at some point. Like in 2 weeks' time, it's gonna end. Imagine, instead of dying, he now lived, and he became so rich that I hear that there are still companies that are named after him.
So he didn't die in those 2
He
weeks?
didn't die because it's like when you know you're gonna die, you make peace. Like you make peace with the fact that, okay, I'm dying. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? Dying.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna die anyway. Okay, now
might as well.
I might as well die now, but let me die doing what I love doing. But then that was actually my motto back in high school, because I was like, God, you must be so unfair. How can you give us life only to take it away? And then I learned that it comes to my mind that anyway, the Bible says that you'd rather die not doing what is evil, because that death will be in vain, but die doing the things that are pleasant in God's sight, because then it's the right way to die. So I was like, okay, so there is a right way to die, because most of the time we have been trained to fear death, or rather to there's a lot of stigma around death itself. And I guess it's also what affects the way we feel about it when we lose people. Because I remember I was in Meru, and it was a burial, and people are not crying like the way they cry back home. I've been raised in Kitale in Western, and there people scream and wail for days. But in Meru, people are celebrating, and I'm like, is this really a burial? It was only the close family that was kind of weeping. Like for them, it's like they have this culture of someone can just go and it's okay. And it's not that it's okay, but it lessens the burden you have to carry if it's already it's already like a worry in your head. The way you're carrying it. Okay, what if it's already a burden, and then now when they die, now that's a burden on top of another burden. And then because you've already told yourself that my world plunges into nothingness because this person has died. But God didn't limit us to the death that happens around us. The death happens, but what First Corinthians says that there was only life after death happened. And it says that eventually, because Jesus had victory over death, they wrote it like a poet, and they were like, death, where is your sting now? Do you get it?
Yeah, because
you see the way a bee will sting you, but after it has stung you, and then you remove it, and then you put it on your hand again, it can't sting you again. So death will also lose its sting. So it really gave me boldness. So death loses its power over us, and it's no longer anything we have to live in fear of. So
Because it happens to everyone.
it happens eventually.
To everyone. And it's not...
And even if it doesn't happen, life in this flesh ends according to the scriptures. And then we are given new bodies that can exist where God is taking us.
Forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing
That's my
at...
reaction to that statement.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to say but to say amen. Amen. Amen.
No pressure. You cross the bridge when you get there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a story to tell, not mine.
It is my story. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So actually, it was a real wonderful pleasure having you around. I feel like as much as I was doing a lot of listening, I've also
been able to
spoken.
open up, about something so that's very personal. Yeah, because also this for me is like, wow, I've never shared this before, and for you to say it's personal, I think I have really had to alleviate that pressure on me, because I used to have that stigma. I can't tell people that but then you know what I started doing? I just started telling people like, so what do you study? I'm like, I'm not in school anymore, and it's a random person I met that day, and I think from that I was just able to be like, this is my reality.
The truth set you free.
Yeah, this is my story. Like if I died and not write a eulogy, they literally write when to JQuat, but they won't write when I finished because I didn't. And it's also okay to change your mind, and I'm making peace with being able to change my mind. Because also, like, I think that we have so much time to decide who we want to be when we want to be those things. I could be, right now, I want to be a musician and singer, songwriter, and yes, I perform. 10 years from now, you meet me, you find I'm a nurse somewhere, or you find I am a painter, or you find I am a house manager. Like, who knows where life leads you. So you do what you are passionate about in that time and what you are privileged and able to do in that moment. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's your story.
You're reminding me of the story that our movement leader at church was sharing, Pastor Murithi Wanjau. He was saying that for him, he knew that in his life, after he had studied Kole, he was going to be like one of the biggest pharmacists in the world. And then God was like, yo, bro, I'm calling you to start a church. And he was like, God, this doesn't make sense. Like, I've calculated, like, this is my life. Like, I've been writing this template of how I'm going to live my life. And you're telling me to put my degree aside and come and do something that I don't even have, like it doesn't, like, that, something that's not sure, something that has not been in my heart all along.
It's something new you want to try.
And God puts the heart on his church. But look at us now. Mavuno has gone global. Like, Mavuno has impacted my life. If that young man didn't take that if he didn't take that step of starting this church, I'm not sure where I'd be today.
For sure.
Because for me, Mavuno,
he's made a difference.
Has given me so much peace with myself and the person that I am. It has really blessed my soul.
Just the same way your poems will make a difference, or have made a difference.
Or are making a difference.
Are making a difference in someone's life, Like, people listen to my music and they're like, it's really amazing, and I loved it, and oh my God, I listen to it every day. And I'm just like, my two small tunes, like, someone is... So you never know who you're touching. You just need to go for, like, what you are passionate about. Because when you're passionate about something, it's like an energy. You know, people say, or science says, you can't create or destroy energy. You can only transform it or transfer it. So it's like, when you're passionate, you transfer that passion into the person, and you're able to speak to them. And they'll be like, Nduta is doing this because she's passionate. Damn, I'm also going to do something that I'm passionate about. Or they'll find that they are passionate about your art, and they're able to even share it to the world, and it touches someone else, and it's this thing that just keeps on rippling
Flowing.
and flowing. Yeah.
You remember Rivandesos? The Rivandesos?
Mi nakumbuka tu mtu alinyongwa na fishbone. I tried to
Mungahsodes is a novel we did in high school as a set book.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the whole world knows what set books are, but they're novels
They
we read
keep
that are
changing, though.
tested on a national scale. Examine
Nationally also. Yeah.
So Rivandesos is one of those novels, and from
Owangsino was one who was choked.
yeah. So funny enough, do you know that it's not so different from the scriptures, because the Bible says that when the Spirit is upon us, that something, I don't remember the exact words, but it says that it will flow out of our bellies like living waters. So like even when God gives us His Spirit, He has not given us to sit on it and be like, I'm knowing God for myself and it's my personal story. Like he's meant to be poured into you, and then you keep
share
the
it out.
yeah.
That's why I feel like the highest form of living is by living in your purpose. And it's what will it will fill your cup, so you're able to pour into others who can't, they are also trying to fill theirs. So in a way you are extending that flow of energy, like you said. When He fills you with the Spirit, you're able to fill it up now to your followers or your believers or your friends.
That's why Simon Peter was able to pray the Holy Spirit upon people. He was filled, but he was praying upon other people. And then this other Simon says, hey, I want to buy this power also.
You can't. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for showing up.
Thank you for having me, and also I'm so sorry for postponing. Yesterday was just a different day, but at least I've been able to come today. And then we've done it even before the week ends, because it would have been now another story. Okay, next week, what am I doing on Monday? Well, but I'm also really glad we've been able to do it. Yeah.
Thank God you came. So guys, this was an episode of Mungahsodes. Until next time, have a beautiful time.
Thank you.
My name is Mungai, and this guest was
Ndutanotes.
Yep.
Okay.